Hi, my name is Matt Heisey here with Nate Nessed, and we did our report on Genghis Khan, real name Timuin, who was a Mongolian warlord.
Temujin, later named Genghis Khan, was born in central Mongolia in 1155. He was named Temujin after a Tatar chief that his father had captured during a battle. Temujin was born with a blood clot in his hand, which in Mongol folklore was a sign that he was destined to become a leader.
This is a map of the Mongolian borders when it looked like when Genghis Khan was in rule to just show the sheer size in square miles that he and his armies covered. At the age of 9, Timuin was taken by his father to live with the family of his then selected bride to be, Borte, which at that time was a very common custom. While returning home, Timuin's father was lured in by the Tatar clan, which he had actually battled with many times, in an attempt of what they called reconciliation. At that point, they actually poisoned him to death for what they called his transgressions. After hearing the news of his father's murder, Timuin returned home to claim his rightful position as clan chief and lead a rebellion against the Tatar clan.
With growing turmoil, Temujin killed his own half-brother Bektir to confirm his position as head of the family. This initiated his path to become one of the most powerful military leaders in the history of Asia to this day.
Now that we've given you a little bit of an insight as to his early upbringing, I'm going to talk a little bit about Timuin's leadership tactics. He, at a very young age, began to be a student of war. His dad was a military leader, so very early on, he learned how to be a leader and watched his dad be a leader. He used the leadership through fear tactic. He was looked at as a warlord, and people would fear what would happen to them if they didn't listen, which was a very powerful tool for him to use. Discipline was very important to Timuin also. He wanted things done a certain way, and if it wasn't done that way, there was going to be consequences. He was an autocratic leader in the fact that he used centralized power and decision making through himself and himself alone. His emergent leadership skills also came into fact when he had to gather a very large following of people to support him from the ground up.
To give you an idea of how powerful Genghis Khan, aka Temujin, was, I wanted to outline a couple of quotes that he's known for. One was, "I will rule them by fixed laws, so that the rest and happiness shall prevail in the world." Um, Another one, "Be of one mind, and one faith, that you may conquer your enemies and live long and happy lives."
In becoming a leader, Timuin was kidnapped at the age of 20 by the Taichutes and escaped shortly thereafter. After escaping and reuniting with his brothers and many of the other clanmen, Timuin began to form an army of more than 20,000 men. The goal of this army was to destroy the traditional divisions amongst the Mongolian tribes and unite them under his own rule. This was the first beginning stages of him trying to take over the armies in regards to avenging his father's death.
After forming his army, avenging his father's murder was his initial objective and goal. He avenged his father's murder by decimating the Tatar army and ordering the murder of every Tatar male that stood less than 3 feet tall to defeat any chance of future rebellions. After defeating the Tatar army, Temujin shifted his focus to defeating Taishut's army.
By using a series of brutal and massive attacks, Timuin defeated the Tiachut tribes along with the Nabian tribes on his path to victory. Timuin, to make a statement, ordered the chiefs of the defeated tribes to be boiled alive in front of everyone to really drive home the fact that he means business and anyone who crosses his path will end up in the same way. It was through these brutal victories that Timuin and his army gained control of central and eastern Mongolia and furthered on with their concourse for victory.
Through Temujin's leadership, he was able to influence his army of over 20,000 men to travel over 70 miles on foot a day.
You may be wondering up to this point as to why we've been referring to Genghis Khan as Timuin. Well, in fact, Timuin is his real name. He wasn't named Genghis Khan until far later. Following the victory of battles, Timuan's own tribesmen actually bestowed upon him the title of Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. Taking on his new name gave him both political and spiritual power over the nation and was now named the supreme god of Mongolis. Genghis Khan was looked at as a godlike character, and to defy him or resist him in any fashion was punishable by death. His men would follow him to the end.
He really took his new status of being the universal ruler and used it in his leadership tactics throughout his men. By utilizing his new spiritual status, he motivated and led his armies in a way that he never did before. People followed him and were willing to die for him throughout.
Genghis Khan's leadership was really seen after his death. After dying in the year 1227 of uncertain reasons, according to the customs of his tribe, he was buried by his own men without markings somewhere near his birthplace in Mongolia. The legend states that his funeral escort killed anything and everything that they encountered to ensure the secrecy of his burial site and make sure that he was treated as the god figure that they sought him to be.
Legend says that his men even went as far to divert a river over his gravesite to make it impossible for people to find. His family grasped his teaching and leadership concepts and practiced them for decades to come. The statue below of Genghis Khan stands 40 meters in height and was created in 2008 in remembrance of the great leader. It is places near the Tool River where the legend said he found his golden whip, which he used to rule the world with. It faces south to remember his watch and control over the country of China. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation video on Genghis Khan.